Heartwarming Evil by tortfeasor. Chapter 4, 16 Weeks. Lyra heartstrings plucked a single string with her magic. The note resounded through a small room with a purity that could only be brought forth by a caring, expert musician using a well-loved instrument. It was a perfect moment. She would have stopped time for a few hours, then a dare she had the ability. The moment ended. Lyra placed the sitar some noble had brought from the exotic land back on the table. The thought of taking the whole day off to simply relish the experience of playing such a strange instrument nearly brought forth a storm of giggles. Playing music, however, did not pay her bills. That was what she fixed the instruments of unicorn's nobles with this many bits for. It was a shame, really. She could easily imagine the haunting, alien melodies the sitar could produce in the hands of one of her so-called mythical humans with their long, dexterous fingers. This was as far as she took the thought. Playing music wouldn't bring in enough customers. Waxing about humans and other so-called fascinated creatures would just drive ponies and their bits away. And if other unicorns knew she was close with an earth pony, well, she didn't quite think they would throw her in Dirtville, but her modest success would certainly melt like the snow in the next few weeks if spring took hold. And it wouldn't come back next winter. No, she wouldn't worry about that. It was like most unicorns spared a second thought for earth ponies, except that the man they produced enough food. The unicorn nobles who made up most of their clientele were more self-absorbed than most. It's rare enough for one of them to pick up or drop off an instrument themselves rather than send some servant. Lyra was unlike most unicorns in the opposite direction. It was not enough for a unicorn to care about an earth pony. It was far harder still for a graduate of the Clovered Academy to do such. Most of the self-absorbed unicorn nobles had gone through the Clover the Clever Academy. Somehow, though, Lyra had gone through the academy, on a scholarship of course, and wound up with Bonbon. Very much an earth pony, as the single most important pony in her world. She suffered the worries typical of a unicorn in her position. At least, she thought she did. Lyra never met another unicorn who became close to an earth pony. No surprise there. It wasn't as if unicorns like herself shouted what they had done with pride onto the streets. What would happen to her if other unicorns found out about Bonbon would be unpleasant. What would happen to Bonbon if other unicorns found out about them would likely be fatal. It would probably be the same if other earth ponies found out. She watched past the charred skeletons of several houses and ponies that morning as she snuck out of Dirtville. Most of it right up against the wall where the few earth ponies who collaborated with unicorns and Pegasi lived. Or, Lyra thought with a shudder, Bonbon would wind up in a penal colony. She suspected most unicorns wouldn't even know what the words meant. Every whispered rumor she heard about those places said that they were where earth ponies went to die, slowly and none too pleasantly. No, she rubbed at the tired eyes with her hooves. That wouldn't happen to Bonbon. Lyra was always careful to the point of paranoia, making sure no one knew she was a unicorn once she went to Dirtville. She always went to Dirtville rather than the other way around. The thought of Bonbon sneaking up on her was beyond laughable. Lyra heaved a sigh. This moping was getting her nowhere. She had plenty of instruments to fix for the bored nobles. Bored nobles who had probably had no idea how to play their instruments, and who had only brought them to display them and make like they were some patron of the arts. What was good that degree in laying in her closet if she couldn't teach some rich entitled brats what real music was? The answer was surprisingly easy. That degree laying in her closet was a big reason why her clientele was composed of unicorn nobles who paid, well, not that much, but certainly more than she could have gotten from other commoners. Going down to Dirtville and visiting Bonbon always made her mope after she came back to her own comparatively luxurious surroundings. Bonbon was well off as far as earth ponies went. She wasn't near starvation, and she had more than enough bits around to not need any help from Lyra. She wouldn't be swept up by the next clean-out that came from the palace, or the one after that, or the one. Lyra wondered how Bonbon put up with it. She didn't have to worry about any of these things as a unicorn, and the mere thought made her sick with worry. Focus, Lyra told herself over and over. Business wasn't booming, but she was far from having a disturbing amount of free time each day. She picked up the next instrument. A cannon some noble had imported all the way from South Arabia. He had all its strings replaced, and the wood was in desperate need of some polishing. Lyra immersed herself in her work for the next several hours, grateful for the distraction from her own overactive mind. When Lyra finally did look up, it was accompanied by a crack from her neck. Maybe she overdone just a bit. The sun was already creeping down from its noon peak. The unicorns responsible for raising and lowering it would give it a few minutes more of light each day until summer. Once he leave the sun up each day. It was their problem, though. Lyra was finding herself some lunch. The bell at her front door chose that exact moment to jingle. Lyra sighed as she turned to give attention to another customer. Late lunch would mildly inconvenience her. A customer meant earning bits to keep having lunch, both late and on time. Hello. Lyra tried it out with a smile on her face. How can I help you? Lyra's throat went bone dry. Standing in front of her was none other than the court sorceress herself, Twilight Sparkle. Lady Sparkle! What can I do for you, Your Excellency? Lyra's blood was ice in her veins. There was no way her illustrious former classmate, not that she likely remembered Lyra, would ever stop by for a simple social call. The reason Twilight Sparkle would stop by her shop probably ends with Lyra in jail, and Bonbon dangling at the end of a rope. Just Twilight. Lyra didn't quite comprehend the first words of Twilight Sparkle's mouth, were of fire and brimstone, and her face said as such. My mom is Lady. I'm just Twilight. Right. Lyra held her smile on her face through sheer willpower. So, Twilight, what brings you to my shop today? Oh, not much. Just an impromptu class reunion. I was looking something up in the library yesterday when I saw something that reminded me of you. I looked you up and here I am. Lyra was used to hearing one thing on the surface and something quite different between the lines. Usually it was something along the lines of how charming it was that she believed in creatures like humans, while the other pony actually thought her bordering on insane. Twilight Sparkle hadn't come for a chat. Why hadn't the guards burst in already? There were only 2 entrances to her shop, and unless he make it far, she tried to run up to her apartment above the shop and flee. Nice to see you're doing well for yourself. Twilight Sparkle seemed determined to keep up the cheery act. Far too many scholar students get the degree. A pat on the head, then a swift kick to the rear of the door. Thanks? Lyra was far too nervous to string together multiple words. 2 syllables had been a stretch. A smile dropped from Twilight Sparkle's face. This was it. Lyra only wished she'd been able to talk to Bonbon one last time. Maybe he'd put them in their cells near enough to hear each other. Relax, Twilight Sparkle sighed. You're not in trouble. I'm here alone, and next to no one knows that I'm not locked up in my room right now working on something. What does that have to do with me? I'm just an ordinary unicorn trying to get by like the rest of us. Maybe they didn't have proof of anything. If Lyra wants their word, she and Bonbon just might make it out alive. Nothing normal had you in Dirtfield during that riot. Lyra's heart pummeled. All her paranoia had been for nothing. Like I said, you're not in trouble. Twilight Sparkle had no problems reading her thoughts on her face. If you were, we'd be having this conversation in a much less friendly environment. What? What do you want? I want your help. That wasn't the answer Lyra had been expecting. Look, during the riots, I was in Dirtfield too. I was trying to get to a Pegasus garrison when I saw you running by. I was hidden, and I wasn't using any magic, so I'm not surprised you didn't see me. I followed you to that shop and saw you talking with that earth pony. Bonbon, Lyra interrupted. Her name is Bonbon. Well, that's more than what I knew about her at the start of the day. Twilight Sparkle had a very good poker face. Is she supposed to be in Platinum City? I can make sure she gets her papers, if you can't help me. Lyra bit down her answer. Twilight Sparkle had just spoken between the lines again. She was clearly reaching for something from Lyra, but just as clearly she didn't want to come out right away and say it. We met at Noble's party in the Unicorn part of the city, so I'm pretty sure her papers are in perfect order. Lyra had no idea what Twilight Sparkle was after, but if she could keep Bonbon safe, she'd take the offer without blinking. You obviously did your homework, so you probably know that I performed music on the side to bring in more bits. It was a few years back. There was a fad sweeping all the nobles. They were being very counterculture with music and food. I remember that, Twilight Sparkle said. I wasn't court sorceress yet, and Sombra had just started taking over the government. Lots of unicorns thought I was funny, until they realized just what kind of pony he is. Right. That had all gone over Lyra's head. Anyways, I was supposed to play some Earth Pony songs at this fancy get-together. I didn't really think about Earth Ponies back then. It was just another job. So they decided to get Earth Pony food at the gathering. At least, they wanted something to pass for Earth Pony food. The real thing to use as team ingredient is that there's never enough of it. That was where Bonbon came in. I forget what unicorns he'd been contracted under for that job. She was just some big shot who never bothers you more than occasionally poke his head in. I was kind of uncomfortable at first. Working with Earth Ponies wasn't exactly a major topic at school. Pretty sure Bonbon wasn't having the time of her life being surrounded by unicorns either. The pay was good enough, though. Definitely remember that. Even if I probably got loads more bits than she did. Please don't take offense to this, but plenty of unicorn nobles lump everyone who's not them simply as lesser. Twilight Sparkle laughed. I hadn't been expecting that. Oh, I perfectly agree with that. I deal with them every day. Most of them have their noses so far in the air. I'm always amazed they can get around without bumping into everything. Yeah. Lyra really hadn't expected that from the court sorceress herself. Like I was saying, nobles there didn't have much of a clue what they were talking about. They always talked down to the both of us about it. I think I was just surprised as the other servants that we had something in common with an Earth Pony. For some reason, I wound up as the one talking with Bonbon the most. We did become friends then and there, of course. But she was impressed that a unicorn could play Earth Pony music and be good at it. I always thought that Earth Ponies practically ate dirt. There was something in common, I guess it was enough. I started sneaking into Dirtville after that. Bonbon's never seen my shop. After the parties, he practically hustled back past the wall by a squad of Pegasus guards. It took a toll on Quiet and both of us at first. We've been raised from adulthood to hate each other. So finding out we were both just ponies, let alone that we get along so well, was quite a shock. I think you can understand why we haven't exactly wanted to run around, tell every pony on the streets the good news. I try to get to Dirtville to visit her whenever I can, but I'm always very careful about it. I make sure no one sees me leave, and by the time I'm in the Pegasus part of Platinum City, I have my cloak up so no one can tell I'm a unicorn. It was going great, but Baba's a fantastic pony, and I was able to help her out at least until you saw me. Now I don't know what's going to happen. Twilight Sparkle sat in silence for several minutes, digesting Lyra's tale. Spring starts tomorrow. Lyra wasn't sure what to make of it, not even a little. Spring starts tomorrow. Twilight Sparkle looked at Lyra straight in the eyes. The Unicorn King won't see the start next winter. That was news to Lyra. From the way Twilight Sparkle said, Lyra suspected it would be a surprise to a great many ponies. He has about 4 months to live, 16 weeks to give or take. Twilight Sparkle spoke far too matter-of-factly to not know for some time. That's why I need your help. The Unicorn King has been sick. Too sick to rule for a while now. Rarity, his eldest daughter, isn't running things as regent. Sombra the Chancellor has sidelined her, and he's behind everything that's been happening to the Earth Ponies for the past year. In 4 months, though, that's all over. Rarity becomes queen, and Sombra finds out what life is like living under a rock. Unless he sidelines her in a more permanent sense first. I still don't get where I come into all this. Lyra's brain was spinning. This is all high politics and intrigue, and I was only let into the Cloverty Academy, as they thought I looked good when the graduation picture. Unicorns are dying, Twilight Sparkle said. Unicorns who have moderate views on Earth Ponies are winding up dead at an alarming rate. I found out that I might have been slated to have an accident during the riots. I won't lie and say that I think your world where we get along with Earth Ponies is what I want. But New Unicorn needs the Earth Ponies, and what Sombra is doing is just plain wrong. Where you come into all this is that you can break a bridge between me, Rarity, and the Earth Ponies. I want to calm them down. Stop giving Sombra excuses to send in Pegasus guards every day. I think I have a way to keep them calm, but I don't know where to use it. You can talk to Earth Ponies. Find out where it's most likely that Sombra is going to strike next. You can make it into the palace to tell him me or Rarity. No one else could do that. Embarrass Sombra enough and his support will collapse. Things will start getting better for Earth Ponies as soon as he's gone. I can promise you that. I don't know, Lady Twilight. I'm just a musician who repairs instruments to keep a hoof over my head. I don't think I'm remotely qualified for this. I'm sorry, I wish I could help, I really do, but I think I'll just make things worse. Lyra was quite willing to do anything if it meant kept Bonbon safe. But this? She'd been right on the dot when she says he only make things worse. Worse would bring the guards down on Bonbon. Don't worry. Twilight Sparkle surprised Lyra again. I feel like I'm treading water right up to my horn with this. Dumping it all on you and expecting you to just jump in was silly. Make sure Bonbon has her papers in order, though. Come talk to me if she doesn't. I'll make sure she gets some. And Lyra, come on a way to get her out of Platinum City. Things are going to get worse before they get better. If they get better. Because the summer wins, I don't think he'll care whether or not Earth ponies have their papers. 5:30. Lyra said as Twilight Sparkle was opening the door. I close at 5:30. It's best to go to Dirtville during the evening rush. No one knows there's 2 ponies going to Dirtville. I can't promise you that Bonbon will be willing to help, but I'll take you to see her. Twilight Sparkle was nothing if not punctual. She showed up at Lyra's door just as she was turning a small sign in the window from open to close. She also seemed to have some clue to what she was doing. Twilight Sparkle's cloak was far from what Lyra was expecting a unicorn of her exalting station to wear. It was unornamented, dull of color, generally what she could expect from an average pony who cared about staying warm. As she left the shop, Lyra stopped to do her usual check to make sure that no one had seen her leave. Part of it was sheer habit, and not a considerable part was fear that there could be a squad of Pegasus guards waiting around the corner for a shout from Twilight Sparkle. There were no guards, much to the benefit of Lyra's heart rate, and no ponies other than Twilight Sparkle to see her lock up shop and step out into the street. Make sure to keep your hood up and your head down once we get to the Pegasus part of the city. Lyra suspected Twilight Sparkle wasn't particularly ignorant of how to get into Dirtville unnoticed. Lyra was close to professional as it was possible without being an actual smuggler. We're just 2 ponies going back into Dirtville after a long day of work. Nothing to be noticed or remembered. Twilight Sparkle nodded. Lyra set off on a slightly different course than usual. No reason to take unnecessary chances. She made sure to avoid the main thoroughfares, to give no one on the back streets she took any reason to notice or remember them. For her part, Twilight Sparkle seemed to be content with following in silence. Lyra had exactly 0 complaints about that. She didn't dislike Twilight Sparkle. She didn't know her enough for that. But she was an equal distance from trusting her beyond necessity. Is there anything I should know before we get to Dirtville? Lyra had been so engrossed in the silence that Twilight Sparkle's question nearly made her jump out of her cloak. Earth ponies aren't monsters or anything. Lyra's heart was getting quite a workout, despite its distinct lack of exercise. Bonbon is a pony, just like you or me, so don't talk down to her to anything like that. She's plenty smart, and she might not have had the fancy schooling we did, but she still taught herself to read and write when she opened up her shop. That, and I think you already know that keeping your horn covered means keeping your head attached to your body. I've gotten that piece of advice a few times over the last couple of days. Twilight Sparkle's response was impressively deadpan. No touchy subjects, though. Having a real conversation with an Earth pony is pretty new to me, and I'd rather not blow this by saying something that's fine between unicorns, but turns out to be incredibly offensive to Earth ponies. Just what you expect, Lyra said. Like I said, Earth ponies are simply ponies like the rest of us. There have been a ton of pissing about parts of history most unicorns are taught to be proud of, but I don't think you're planning to turn this into a history lesson. Twilight Sparkle didn't respond to that, apparently satisfied by the answer. They made their silent way through the Pegasus part of Platinum City to eventually join the line of Earth ponies going back into Dirtville. Just like Lyra had hoped, they merely became 2 more ponies going back to work through the wall. Once they made it to Dirtville, Lyra took the occasional glance over her shoulder. Part of it was a routine check to make sure she wasn't being followed, a distinct danger in Dirtville. And part of it was to see how Twilight Sparkle was holding up. For one such a delicate station, she was doing an impressive job. Streets of Dirtville were also sewers and garbage dumps, and they smelled the part. Twilight Sparkle didn't seem particularly offended by the smell, the waste, or heaps of garbage covering the narrow dirt streets. Lyra was far from trusting, but she began to believe Twilight Sparkle had indeed been coming down here on some sort of business. Here we are! Lyra slowed as he turned down the street where Bonbon lived and worked. I know I'm not in any position to access, but please go easy on her. Earth ponies have it hard enough without getting mixed up in unicorn politics. I'll try. Twilight Sparkle said. But like I said, I think the Earth ponies are going to get mixed up in unicorn politics, whether they like it or not. Lyra walked up to the door and pushed it open. The bell that jangled overhead sounded just like the one at her shop. That was no surprise. She had given Bonbon the old bell from her shop. Bonbon was behind the counter, scratching away a piece of paper with a quill. When she looked up, Lyra wondered if her face had looked at all like Bonbon's earlier that day. First, there was a normal smile for a potential customer. Then came the start of a genuine smile as he recognized Lyra. Then came shock mixed with fear as he saw the other unicorn with her. Lastly, came the blank face that Earth ponies use instinctively when they fear a word out of line might mean their heads. My ladies. Lyra hadn't heard much of it easily subversive tone from Bonbon in a long time. She didn't like it one bit. You honor me by setting hoof in my humble shop. How can I serve such illustrious ponies as yourselves? Hello, Bonbon. Lyra tried to cut short Bonbon's pack. Yeah, that's me. Lyra had a particularly hard time blaming Bonbon for not even wanting to give the slightest hint they knew each other. It still hurt having that groveling tone directed at her. Will you, by chance, refer to one of the unicorns I've done business with in the past? I assure you they're all very satisfied customers, and whatever your needs are, I can meet them. Bonbon. Lyra looked at her straight in the eyes. This is Twilight Sparkle. She saw me last night. Even behind the counter, it was clear that Bonbon had seized up with fear. Relax. She's not here to drag us off to horrible tortures. This is going to take a while, so it's probably better she says it. Bonbon slowly climbed down from her panic. Her eyes, however, were still filled to the brim with fear, while Lyra walked behind the counter to put a comforting hoof on her shoulder. It's probably better for all of us the last time Lyra and I spent in Dirtfield, so I'll try to make this short as I can. Like Lyra said, my name is... Twilight Sparkle never finished her sentence. At that exact moment, Bonbon's top assistants made a rather spectacular entrance. Pinkie Pie was unbelievably energetic. Was compulsively nice to every pony she met, regardless of their own views about her. Lyra had not thought she would be working today, so she was currently attached to the back of a very confused Twilight Sparkle. Oh my gosh, a new bunny! Welcome to Bonbons. I'm Pinkie Pie. I was going to make sure you had the best thing in the history of ever! Twilight Sparkle's look of complete befuddlement would have been hilarious as far as Lyra was concerned. But Twilight Sparkle had not been a unicorn capable of having Bonbon and every other earth pony and planet in the sea exterminated with a few words. Pinkie Pie, Lyra called out to the writhing ball of verity. Twilight Sparkle is, she's here with me. Bonbon and I can take care of her, so could you please get off her back? Pinkie Pie leapt off of Twilight Sparkle's back and landed on 4 quivering hooves. Pinkie Pie kept from bombarding Twilight Sparkle with her own unique brand of goodwill. She had it only marginally less difficult than repairing relations between Earth ponies and unicorns in Platinum City. Yes. Twilight Sparkle looked back and forth between Pinkie Pie and Lyra several times before continuing. Like I was saying, my name is Twilight Sparkle. I'm the court sorceress, and I need your help. Lyra felt Bonbon tense next to her, as she realized exactly who had walked into her shop. She could hardly blame her. Lyra had practically fallen over when Twilight come to her shop. And I'm Pinkie Pie! Pinkie Pie grabbed Twilight's hoof and pumped it with a sense figure. See, the unicorn was being lifted up and off the ground with each shake of the hoof. This is so cool! A new friend! I love making new friends. I love to get them to smile. They get to make me smile. Then we can go and make all sorts of funny smile together. I'm so excited! I'm so excited! I can burst! Lyra knew Pinkie Pie could come close to making that last part of examination a very literal claim. She also knew that while an outburst from Pinkie Pie wouldn't attract any attention in this part of Dirtville, it would also be a whole different matter if Pinkie Pie got excited about making friends with a unicorn. In desperation, Lyra looked over at Bonbon to see if she could calm Pinkie Pie down. Pinkie Pie! Pinkie Pie! Bonbon was reduced to shouting over her assistant to get attention. Lady Sparkle is a valued customer. We always do what we say about... And what do we always say about letting customers speak? Just... Twilight. Twilight Sparkle's response seemed a reflex. My mom is Lady. I'm just Twilight. I swear if I could survive in this climate, I'd get a parrot trained to say it whenever someone calls me Lady Sparkle. Now, as I was saying, I need your help. Lyra listened as Twilight gave Bonbon and Pinkie Pie the same pitch she had given her. She didn't know that Twilight Sparkle omitted several details, such as the imminent death of the Unicorn King.
That doesn't sound at all good, especially for Earth ponies, Bonbon said, but I'm not necessarily sure what or maybe we, come into all this.
I need to get out ahead of Sombra. He clearly has a way of finding these large masses of Earth ponies without proper papers so he can send it to the guards to hold them off. In doing so, drive the rest of the Earth ponies closer to revolt he needs as an excuse to deal with the problems once and for all. If you can find where he's likely to move next, I think I may have a way to get those ponies out of Sombra's way. Lyra had never seen such a calculating look on Bonbon's face. She rather expected it to have been a long time since an Earth pony had bargained with a unicorn on anything remotely approaching even terms.
I'm all for helping Earth ponies survive, but too many Earth ponies are just surviving. When they get up in the mornings, what they're doing can hardly call it a life. I'm grateful that any unicorn, let it go one in your position, would actually care about helping Earth ponies. But even before Sombra came along, too many of us were simply corpses who hadn't stopped moving yet. How do I know we just won't exchange one tyrant for another?
Lyra was extremely well acquainted with the deprivations that Earth ponies suffered in Platinum City. To that moment, she never grasped the feelings of hopelessness and despair they lived with each and every day. Twilight Sparkle, however, continued to surprise her.
I've had a number of conversations with Princess Larity about this, and she appreciates that we, unicorns, need Earth ponies to succeed if New Unicorpia is going to succeed. I can promise you that everything Sombra has done to you will be done immediately if this works. Her Highness has made that quite clear to me.
Lyra considered speaking up. Twilight Sparkle has far more reservations recruiting her to this mad scheme. She kept quiet, with a foul taste in her mouth. If Sombra won, it's quite possible there wouldn't even be any Earth ponies left for her to care about. Besides, it would take her quite a while to come around from a normal unicorn to where she was. Moving Twilight Sparkle down that road would take some time. But Lyra was nothing if not patient. After all, she'd been waiting for years to find a human. She could wait 16 weeks to change one of the unicorn's mind.
Oh, one last thing, Twilight Sparkle said. I don't suppose you sell pies here, do you? I feel like I've opposed you quite a bit, and one of the guards back at the palace has a love affair with pies. I think he's particularly fond of apple pie. I think so.
Bonbon clearly hadn't expected the court sorceress to be buying from her shop. It was a shame, Lyra thought, that she couldn't advertise the fact to bring in more business.
Pinkie Pie, I think there should still be a few pies we got from Sugar Cube Corner yesterday down in the cellar. Would you mind getting one for Lady Sparkle?
Lyra heard Twilight Sparkle sigh as Pinkie Pie took off with a streak of happiness. Certainly it would have been possible for a normal pony, but not for Pinkie Pie, an apple pie wrapped and sitting on the counter.
Thank you very much.
Lyra kept silent when Twilight Sparkle had laid down far more bits than such a pie would normally go for Durfville.
We should probably get going before some pony comes in and sees us. Hopefully it'll be a while before I need your help. That means Sombra's having trouble finding Earth ponies to drag off to sell at one of those abominable penal colonies.
Lyra followed Twilight out the door with a sad wave. She hated to drop in on Bonbon and then run, but she had no excuse for her absence from her own shop. The consequences she discovered in Durfville. Their trip back to the unicorn part of the city was so uneventful as they approached boredom. The guards at the wall didn't even ask what was in the box, containing Twilight Sparkle's pie when they saw 2 unicorns.
Hopefully, I don't need your help either,
Twilight Sparkle said as he reached Lyra's shop last.
I know you have plenty of doubts about me, and I'll be the first to admit that our goals don't entirely match. But I need you to trust me when I say thwarting Sombra will make things better for Earth ponies in both the short and long term. I want to. I really do, but...
Lyra looked her doubts unsaid as she closed the door on Twilight Sparkle.